kind of scooch in, just try to, can you see the camera? They can see you, so you might also want to spread. So don't feel really shy. Just come right up, okay. Right here. Come on, right up. There you go. You're powerful and important. Welcome, everyone. Thank you to everybody who's out here this morning and to members of the media who are here today. I'm State Senator Sue Shink. I represent the 14th Senate District, which includes Washtenaw and Jackson counties. And we're here today with Representative Donovan McKinney, Representative Phil Skaggs, and Maya Van Rossum to speak about introducing the Green Amendment in Michigan. The Green Amendment will enshrine in Michigan's Constitution the inalienable rights of all people, including future generations, to clean water, clean air, a stable climate, and a healthy environment. Under current law, residents may petition public entities, lobby legislators, and attend public hearings, but they have no legal right to demand action in so many cases, especially before pollution and degradation happens. I see this in my own district when I stand with residents and ask state government to protect them and their neighborhoods from groundwater contamination, dust, or wetland pollution. I often hear a well-meaning yet unhelpful, "We are doing what we can," but they qualify for the permit. Michigan law just doesn't protect that. The Green Amendment would change that. It gives citizens the right to legally advocate for themselves and their communities. It gives environmental rights, which is really just the right not to be poisoned or to have the public resources subsidize corporate profits. And it gives those rights the same legal standing as other essential freedoms such as speech and religion. Michiganders care deeply about protecting the environment. And I hear that from people who identify as Republicans, Independents, and Democrats. And yet, under current regulations, companies are legally allowed to pollute the environment so long as they get a permit to do so. In my district, an example of this is the Gelman plume, where decades of environmental degradation have affected the soil and groundwater, and our community is paying the price, literally. The Gelman pollution actually forced the closure of a city well. Even as the pollution has creeped out to new areas, the state of Michigan has had its hands tied and has been unable to require a cleanup by the entity that made the mess. This was a problem that began before I was even in college. That was a long time ago. Because Gelman had a permit, even if they knew the harm that their actions would cause, that protected them and endangered us. In my work as a county commissioner, I helped move this process forward with local and state representatives as well as our congressmen to encourage the EPA to take on this pollution. At this moment, the Gelman dioxane plume continues to spread across our community and into the Huron River, the water source for the city of Ann Arbor. Michiganders deserve to be able to eat the fish in our rivers, and right now in the Huron River, the fish are contaminated by another contaminant, PFAS. They're not safe to eat. It's unfair and unacceptable for people to have to live with the consequences of pollution that they did not create, to suffer cancer for profits in which they did not share, to struggle with asthma for corporate shareholders' benefit. A Green Amendment would have protected the people in my district a lot sooner and would have helped so many across our state in rural and urban areas. Now more than ever, we must empower our people to protect our rights. President Trump is empowering corporations to pollute for profit, and corporations are now exempt for 2 years from the Clean Air Act. Chemical manufacturers and oil refineries are exempt from requirements to reduce emissions, increasing air pollution at a time when human health is at great risk. President Trump has also opened public lands that people have enjoyed for generations for corporate mining and pollution. The people will not benefit, but we will be harmed. And we can do something about that here in Michigan by passing a Green Amendment. Our right to clean water, air, and a stable climate and healthy environment are being eroded every day, and we need to do something to change that. It is so important for the state of Michigan to step up and make sure that its citizens are protected, that we are guarding our land, our Great Lakes and waterways, and our future. Our next speaker is someone who has been a consistent advocate for environmental justice and protecting communities. Phil Skaggs represents the 80th House District. He has been advocating for a statewide septic code and also for legislation that would require polluters pay for the messes they make. Representative Skaggs?
Thank you, Senator. I don't know if that was for me or Senator Shink, either way. Thank you. Thank you very much on behalf of both of us. I'm just pitch hitting here today. I wasn't planning on speaking, so I'm going to riff a little bit and simply say that we were taught in kindergarten that if you make a mess, you're supposed to clean it up. It's a pretty basic value to have. And yet, as Senator Shink mentioned, the current legal framework in Michigan allows you to make a mess and not clean it up. That proves that we need this amendment. We need to think about being stewards of our environment, of our planet. No matter what your faith tradition is, Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, I used to be a professor, so I taught all of these things. They all believe that we have a value to take care of our planet, not just for us, but for future generations. Every indigenous culture has this, and we ought to have it enshrined in Michigan's Constitution. This amendment provides Michigan with a meaningful legal tool to protect the rights to clean air, safe water, a stable climate, and a healthy environment. Because these ought to be rights and not privileges. If we were building a constitution now and not in the 1780s or in the 1950s and 60s, we would already have something like this. Something that makes it clear that Michiganders have rights, clean air and water. None of this should be particularly difficult to think about. This is common sense legislation that ought to be in every constitution. I certainly applaud New York and Montana and Pennsylvania for the work that they've done. And it's about time that Michigan joins what is an eclectic group of states. But if there's anything I know about Michigan, it's that we love our nature. Let's face it, we just got through winter. We are here for the nature. We are here for the beaches. We are here for spring and summer. We are here because we love water, because we love forests, and because we love our amazing parks. And it ought to be in our Constitution that we have meaningful protections. So I want to pass this along to really the person that began this entire movement. Oh, I'm not passing it along to that. I'm going to pass it along to my dear friend who is finally out of his appropriations subcommittee and has come join us, State Representative Donovan McKinney, who is leading this effort in the House and who can take over now.
Hey, what's up, Phil? Thank you, brother. How's everybody this morning? We just had, over 4 hours in approach, so just trying to get, it's been nuts. But glad to be here. Thank you all for showing up. Again, my name is Donovan McKinney. Serve as the current state rep out of 11th House District. That is Northeast Detroit, the south side of Warren. If you know anything about the 8 Mile movie, that is my district. So I represent Eminem's old trailer park as well as where he grew up at on near Dresden Street, down the street from Osborne. So I like to always say that when I travel because folks are like, yeah, I know where that's at. So proud to be here on Earth Day. And this is an amazing feat because we're introducing this joint resolution alongside Senator Shink around the Green Amendment. Now, one of the things that the Green Amendment talks about and lays out is putting in place state law and statute, constitutional rights when it comes to clean air, clean and affordable water, but more importantly, cumulative impacts. And so this will literally lay out the EGLE permitting process. Me and Senator Chang have come together with joint legislation around POCA, if you know what that stands for. POCA stands for Protecting Overburdened Communities Act. And what these bills will do alongside the Green Amendment will not just look at air quality from one standard, which is right now, they only look at sulfur dioxide or carbon or PFAS in individual terms. But in reality, cumulative impacts look at it in totality, bringing all of it together, because you cannot breathe these toxins separately. You breathe them all together, and we must protect our communities, especially those with like overburdened communities, especially those with children, and just underserved communities that need this legislation. I will say this, and I'll pass the mic because I don't want to be too long-winded when it comes to this. But the reason why I'm championing this Green Amendment is because we have to protect those who cannot protect themselves. And oftentimes what happens up here in Lansing, up here in the politics world, is that we forget the little people, the people that we represent day to day. And for us, this is about understanding that your rights and our values matter more than anything. Matter more than money, matter more than businesses, matter more than everything. Your health and quality of life matters. And this is what this legislation is all about. And I'm so supportive of it. And I'm so glad we feel like, man, we got a whole team. Shout out to Natalie Price, State Rep. Who else we got, man? The whole coalition, Sierra Club, everybody's here. But just thank you so much for listening to us. And hopefully you guys who are covering this will report it far and wide to let people know our communities deserve better, and this legislation will make sure we're fighting for better. So I'll leave it be and pass the mic to whoever's next. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, happy Earth Day, everybody. What a fabulous day. My name's Maya Van Rossum. Well, thank you. I know I'm short. My name's Maya Van Rossum. I'm the founder and leader of the Green Amendments for the Generations organization and movement. And we are working nationwide, including here in the state of Michigan, helping communities secure meaningful and enforceable constitutional recognition of their environmental rights. And with today's announcement, Michigan places itself on the leading edge of this national movement by proposing a Michigan Green Amendment that will give highest constitutional recognition and protection to the rights of all the people of Michigan to the environmental essentials of life, to clean and healthy air to breathe, water to drink, soils in which to grow healthy foods, to a safe and stable climate system, and to the quality ecosystems and environments essential for supporting every aspect of our lives, including quality education for our children and economic prosperity for all communities. Now, while existing Article 4, Section 52 of the Michigan Constitution declares conservation as well as development of the state's natural resources to be of, quote, paramount public concern, it then turns around and gives all the power to the state legislators to decide how, when, where, to what degree, or even if they will protect the state's environment. But the Michigan Green Amendment is different. It recognizes that the state constitution is the people's document. It is the place where the people set the goals and the priorities of the state for government to follow, not the other way around. With the Michigan Green Amendment, we're giving the people of Michigan a meaningful seat at the decision-making table when their human right to a safe environment is at risk. And we are declaring that environmental rights are to be given the same highest protection and recognition as our other cherished freedoms, such as speech and religion. The Michigan Green Amendment will ensure that all government officials in the state, at the state level, at the local level, in the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch, all prioritize environmental protection every single time they act. And it will ensure that government works to protect the state's natural resources, not just for those of us who are here today, but all the future generations yet to come. And the Michigan Green Amendment will ensure that impacted people have a meaningful pathway to seek a remedy when government officials fundamentally fail to ensure the quality environment that people need, and when they ignore their duty as government officials to respect and protect the environmental rights of the people. Now, believe it or not, There will be some here in Michigan that will oppose this amendment. They're going to raise alarming arguments of opposition. But the fact of the matter is, we know that that amendments of this kind can and do work, because 3 states already give the same quality of recognition and protection to our environmental rights: Pennsylvania, Montana, and the state of New York. And these amendments are working. They are helping good government officials and the people to raise the standard of care for the environment and to address serious issues of environmental concern when existing laws fail to do so. If the Michigan Green Amendment were to pass, which it will, it's not actually if, it's a matter of when, Michigan will become the 4th state in the nation to give highest constitutional protection to the inalienable human rights of all people to a clean, safe, and healthy environment. And it will actually be the first state in the nation to recognize by its terms in the Constitution the right of the people to a safe climate. So it is an honor to be here at this historic moment on this historic Earth Day with Senator Shink and Representative McKinney and Representative Skaggs and Representative Price, and all the wonderful advocates that have been part of this movement all along to make this powerful and important history-making announcement.
I call on my fellow legislators to support the Green Amendment. The state has a duty to protect its residents and to act in the people's best interest. Clean air, clean water, and a livable climate are not privileges. They are rights that every person deserves and has, and it needs to be in our Constitution, regardless of zip code or income. The time for delay is over. Our constituents, our children, and our grandchildren are counting on us to act now and to put what always should have been in our Constitution into our Constitution. Thank you. We can now take some questions.
If you could help me understand, what's the process here? You're introducing a joint resolution. Does it go, I guess, to the House and to the Senate? And then if both chambers approve, it's in the Constitution, or the governor has to sign before it gets in the Constitution? How does this work?
It would go to a vote of the people. This would be the people's decision. And what we're asking our fellow legislators to do is to allow the people of this state to make a decision about whether they want their rights to drink clean water, breathe clean air, to be protected in our Constitution.
Now, this is the second news conference I've been at today where Representative Skaggs has referred to common sense legislation having potentially a problem.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to answer is fine. Do you expect the House Speaker is going to greenlight this legislation, even though it's common sense, according to Representative Skaggs, or are you expecting a problem?
I have the highest expectation that Speaker Hall will simply do the right thing. And as Senator Shink said, this process is very simple. 2/3 vote puts it on the ballot. So you're not voting to put this in the Constitution. I think legislators in the State House and in the State Senate simply ought to give the people of Michigan a choice, a vote. We just came out of referendums in Virginia, and we've had referendums here in Michigan that have been advanced by the legislature. Proposal 1, which did personal financial disclosure and transparency along with some reconfiguring of term limits. That was something that was put forward by the legislature as opposed to the normal process, which is to go through a petition gathering campaign. So we as legislators have the right to put it on the ballot. I believe that we should put it on the ballot, and I would call on Speaker Hall to give us that opportunity.
And for the person who's representing the non-political part of this,
Oh,
you,
yeah.
step back over to the podium. Let's just suppose this doesn't pass.
Mm-hmm.
Can we expect to see in 27 or 28 a petition drive to try to you get an initiative petition to put this on the ballot?
Mm-hmm.
And is your group sufficient enough in size to get that done?
So however it is we go about doing it, whether we try the legislative process time and time again, or whether we go through the petition process, what I can tell you 100% is that the people of Michigan are going to be coming back year after year after year until they secure their opportunity to vote on this right. So how we do it is going to be a strategic question, and we will, answer that question if need be with our legislators and with our advocacy champions. But we are hopeful and frankly very confident that we're going to have a very successful run in the coming year, and we're going to prove that this is a powerful pathway that the people want. And if the legislators don't do it this year, they should do it next year. And if they don't do it next year, then as you said, there are other pathways that people can take.
And again, if you could just repeat your name and the organization you represent.
I'm Maya Van Rossum. I'm the founder and leader of Green Amendments for the Generations, and I'm part of the Michigan Green Amendment Coalition.
I also wanted to ask about how this is enforceable. The first thing that comes into my mind is that there are a lot of environmental groups that oppose a mine that might go in the Upper Peninsula because of the risk it poses to Lake Superior. Is a situation like that somewhere where this can be applied? Is it only once an environmental disaster happens that we can declare it, a violation of the Constitution?
So I think rather than speak to a specific environmental situation without all of the context being able to be examined in this situation, what I would say is that this right, if it is enshrined in the Constitution, and I say that, I think if you talk to most people in Michigan, they would say, yeah, we have a right to clean air. We have a right to clean water. But then when you go back to the state government, they're like, not so fast. That's why we need it enshrined in the Constitution. It would be an equitable right, which means that if people believe that that right was being violated, that they could go to the courts and ask for injunctive relief. So asking, instead of for monetary damages maybe after they've already gotten cancer or something is destroyed, that the court could say, hey, whoa, stop, let's take a closer look at this, and then they would make a decision about whether that specific instance violated the constitutional right to a healthy environment. Any other questions? All right, thank you so very much. Hope everybody has a happy Earth Day.